I don't take time off really. Like, because I ride for transportation.
Right.
So I'll just start riding again, but.
You ever want to learn how to drive a car, or is that?
No.
I respect that.
Breaking the women's record on the Tour Divide, coming first overall in the Trans Am bike race.
To win, Lael pretty much never stops riding.
Okay, 'cause I'm riding with my friend.
So I've got avocados, toast, and eggs.
Do you want me to help you with anything?
I think I'm good. You would like avocado toast as
Yes,
well,
please. I can make some too. I love coffee. Well, yeah. I used to kind of overdo it, more of a couple cups in the morning, you know, a couple in the afternoon.
Go ahead and state your name.
My name's Lael Wilcox.
And what do you do?
I'm an ultra distance bike packer.
What gear ratio are you running?
I have no idea.
I've got a 48-20. I think you're maybe something pretty close, if I recall correctly.
47-19.
Okay, what's the last time you were on a fixed gear bike?
Yeah, so last time I rode fixed gear bike was 2008. It was actually my first new bike that I ever had, flip-flop hub. And I was in college and I was just like, this is incredible. But then
that's awesome.
Got an old 1982 road bike to ride across the country. And that was the next step.
So how did you get started riding bikes?
Yeah, so I got this bike to commute to work. I was living in Tacoma, Washington, and it was 4 miles away. I've never, I don't know how to drive. So I used to just walk everywhere. So the bike was like a huge transportation upgrade. Yeah, I rode to work and then I was like, oh, I could ride all over the city.
Yeah.
And then I could ride to Seattle to visit my sister. So that was like my first big ride. It was 45 miles on the fixed gear.
Wow.
And I was like, I don't think I can make it. And this was like pre-smartphone. So I just had a stack of MapQuest directions.
Wow, did you print them out and carry them with you?
It's like a book. And I was like so exhilarated. I was like, if I could ride to Seattle, I could ride across the country.
Yeah.
So then like 2 months later, I was doing that. So I was like, well, you know, I might want some more gears. So I got this 1982 Bianchi road bike and it was amazing. Rode down the East Coast from Portland, Maine up to Montreal, down to Key West, Florida.
Wow.
First trip.
How long did that take you?
A couple months, I think.
Okay.
And then, you know, I got to Florida, it was the end of the road and I was broke, so I got a job as a pedicab driver. I was there for Christmas. I'm from Alaska, so then it was like decorating palm trees.
Yeah.
You know, it's so cool, diving for lobster.
Does it even feel like Christmas if there isn't snow?
Not really.
How did you go from that to racing?
I just kind of kept doing that for the next 7 years, like touring and then stopping somewhere to work to save money for the next trip.
Okay.
And it changed from like across the US, Mexico, and then I started traveling in Europe and South Africa and the Middle East. And during one trip I was in Israel.
No way.
And I was riding this race route, the Holy Land Challenge. And I was like, well, I'm actually still gonna be here when the race happens.
Yeah.
So maybe I should just do it. And I just had like my touring setup, you know, like running shoes, steel hardtail that cost me $400. But then I was the only woman and it was like 850 miles.
Wow.
And by the end of the first day, I was winning by like 25 miles.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was like, whoa, I guess I could do this, you know? It got broken into 2 parts. I won the first half and got second in the second half.
Rock on.
And it was so
awesome.
cool, you know, it was like just this kind of mind-blowing experience. And
Were
that
you
kind
hooked after that?
Yeah. Well, I was like, okay, so if this goes well, I'll fly back to Alaska, I'll get a race bike.
Okay.
And then I'll ride from Anchorage to Banff, Canada.
Yeah.
Which is 2,100 miles. Take a week off and then race the Tour Divide from Canada to Mexico.
And you did that?
That's what I did. I broke the women's record that time by 2 days.
That's insane. What is your strategy for eating and sleeping?
The thing is, like, this is all self-supported, so you have to buy food, you have to find water, you have to find a place to sleep.
Right.
If you get a mechanical, you have to fix it. So it's kind of like a game of trying to be as efficient as possible,
Totally.
you know, and so I eat all my meals on the bike.
What's your go-to?
Oh man, basically anything that looks like appealing, because I burn out of everything.
Right.
You know, it's like I think I try to eat something like 10,000 calories a day.
Yeah.
Which is disgusting.
Do you ever have a hard time like eating?
No, yeah, but I'm like, it's my job, you know, I like have to keep eating. It's depressing. You're like eating like potato chips, like, oh.
What's the weirdest thing you've ever eaten?
Often I'll drink milk,
Okay.
because you find it at like every gas station. And then during the Tour Divide, I got to this place and all they had was either gallons of milk or quarts of half and half.
Okay.
So I drank the half and half.
No way.
Milk.
That
Body tolerate that pretty well?
almost didn't.
Is there a point at which you realize that you need to start sleeping more? And like, what are those signs?
Ooh, yeah, like if my vision's blurry,
Okay.
I'm like, this isn't good.
Yeah.
If I can't focus my eyes. During a time trial on the Arizona Trail, I just meditated for 7 minutes and it worked. You know, I couldn't see straight. I laid down, I set a timer for 7 minutes and then I popped up and I was fine.
So, gravel.
Yeah,
I guess you ride a lot of mixed surfaces.
I do. Yeah, mostly dirt roads, but it's cool how, you know, gravel's kind of become its own category.
Yeah.
And so more people want to do it and I'm like, that's what I like to do anyway, so all good.
And you also work with grit.
Yeah, so I started a girls program, Encourage Grit. And I work with 12 and 13-year-old girls, not like cyclists. Before we ride together, they've never ridden more than 5 miles.
Wow.
And we ride together for 6 weeks to build up to a 60-mile, 3-day adventure ride.
That's incredible.
From their school, basically to the wilderness. Like, I didn't ride when I was 12,
Right.
but imagine if you did.
Right. What are the like different reactions that you get when people find out what it is that you're doing?
They like are excited. They always want me to like come in their house and feed me for sure. They're like, you need food. I feel like I get to see the goodness of people. Yeah, because I'm on a bike, I'm vulnerable, I'm a woman. Most people are just like, they just want to know what I eat.
What's some of the craziest wildlife you've seen?
I had like a grizzly bear chase me last summer.
No way.
Yeah, and I was always like, I've seen like hundreds of bears and I'm like, oh, it's fine, you just yell like, hey, and they run away. And then this one was like not. It was like coming towards me.
Do you think it was a mama bear?
It was solo, but it was like this blonde grizzly coming towards me and I was like, oh shit, this is serious, you know?
Yeah, how long did it chase you for?
A few minutes, I just started sprinting away and I was alone.
That's so scary.
A lot of the time, you know, I'll see more animals in the night when I'm racing because it's so quiet. There's a mountain lion. There's a mountain lion right there.
Is that something that motivates you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just spending all those minutes outside.
Yeah.
And also, like, I just want to do my best. And sometimes your best is not that great. If you're riding like 20 hours a day, you're like slogging. But then an hour later, you feel better. So you pick it up and, you know, pain goes away, comes back.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's just cool to be out there. And then, you know, you just experience so many highs and lows. But you never forget it. You know, it's like, oh yeah, that happened. I saw the bear and then I ate a bagel.
As arguably the best ultra endurance athlete in the world right now, what's your greatest piece of advice to someone who's just starting out in ultra?
I mean, I definitely would say I'm not the best.
I'm gonna argue for you.
But I would also say, go on a bike trip, have some fun, figure out what works for you, what kind of riding you like. Ride through the night by yourself. See how that goes before like loading on the pressure of a race. Like you could ride here.
I know, check it
You
out,
know?
we're at the summit.
Woo!
Welcome to Switzerland. I think this is the perfect spot for some Toblerone
Ooh!
and a story. Do you want to talk about your how you won the Trans Am?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, so 2016 I raced the Trans Am. So I'm in this race, get to the halfway point in Kansas, and at that point I was in second or third place. So from there on, I'm like chasing the leader, Stefan. Finally, like the last 3 nights, I'm like, okay, so he's still 50 miles ahead. I have to cut sleep and catch him. And then I like pop up in the night, and at the same time, I didn't know this, but he was 20 miles ahead of me. Woke up so disoriented that he started riding the course backwards. We met at like 3 or 4 in the morning in a town called Bumpass, Virginia. Immediately when he saw me, he turned around and started riding next to me. And I was like, is he a fan? Like, is he some weird guy? Because he didn't say anything. And I was like, what's your name? And he's like, Stefan. Looking straight ahead, and then I was like, oh my God, this is the guy. Like, I've been chasing him for 17 days, and I don't know where this energy came from because I was so dead, but I started sprinting, and then I'd pull ahead, and then he'd catch up beside me, and then I'd go fast. And at one point, there was actually a turn. He went left, I went right, and he's like, no, it's to the left. So I correct, I go over, and then I have to eat this.
We can take a second.
Well, I'm like, I can't just leave it in the gravel. That's not respectful.
No, you gotta respect the Toblerone.
So I've heard this is authentic Swiss-made chocolate. It's really good. So the Trans Am, as I'm coming back around, and he was like, let's talk. I don't want to talk, I'm just racing. And then he's like, we've been battling this for 2 weeks. Let's just finish together. And I was like, no! I was like, this is the best part. So I started sprinting again, and then within like 6 miles or so, I realized I dropped him. And then you get to the finish, and it's like a monument, Yorktown, Virginia. They have like Civil War reenactments. I thought I was losing my mind getting to the end. There are like children playing snare drums and flutes. Like everybody's wearing costumes. They're like shooting off cannons. I'm
You're
like,
just hallucinating all of this.
when will this be over? There was like a small crowd. Somebody put out like a camping chair for me to sit on. Somebody handed me a beer, and I was like, I can't drink that. I just felt so bad. But I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I never have to do it again.
Yeah. That's a fantastic story. Are you and Stefan still friends?
You know, haven't talked to him. Yeah, but we did hang out for a few days in Virginia.
Well, Toblerone cheers.
Cheers. All right, let's see how this goes. I'm allowed to use my brakes, right?
Yeah, highly encouraged.
Wow, this is like an arm workout. Wide open.
Yeah, so sparse.
What a change.
This is so pretty.
It's beautiful. Beautiful flowers. I'm just bouncing like crazy. Bad for your knees? Yeah. Yeah, I guess you just have to be like,
Usually we only do one climb, but because this is kind of an ultra episode, We're gonna do a second climb.
I'm riding face up this mountain.
Let's say we're in a parallel universe and you are not an ultra endurance bike racer. What would you be?
I would probably just be walking.
You'd be a walker? Would you rather ride in extreme heat or extreme cold?
Ugh, they're both horrible, but probably the heat. The cold, it's like, it feels more dangerous. Like in Alaska, people race the Iditarod, 1,000-mile sled dog race, but people race it on fat bikes, and it's totally different. You have to like think about not letting your water freeze.
Don't people lose fingers and toes doing that?
I mean, that just sounds miserable.
Do you ever have any intention of racing that?
Yeah.
How is ultra racing in terms of advocacy for women cyclists?
You know, any race I go to, it's like 10% of or less of the field is women. We won't know what women are capable of if they don't show up. And like a big part of it is storytelling, like sharing media, you know, sharing photos, sharing videos, like just telling people what this is all about, because like the more people that see it, the more people are going to get inspired, women included. That's something like I feel super passionate about, but I've also run into problems because, you know, some of these grouchy old guys don't want us to document the races.
Right.
Because they're like, oh, if you document it, that means, you know, a camera's on you and they gave you emotional support.
Right.
Like, that's bullshit. Like, I'm pedaling my bike. They're not giving me food. They're not giving me water. I have to take care of everything. And sometimes, like, it actually feels worse to be documented because you're so, like, when you're in a major low, people are seeing you at your worst moment, you know? And it's like, that's tough, but it's also part of the story. So I just want more people to feel like they can be part of the sport.
Yeah, what are some things that you could do all week?
Well, this week, I mean, tomorrow I'm riding 160 miles. Riding from Hood River to Mitchell to go find my girlfriend.
Oh my gosh.
And then we'll start the Oregon Outback, I think, the next day.
How did you and Rue meet?
She worked for the newspaper in Alaska. And that was the first year I was doing my grip program. So she pitched a story to make a video about it.
Rock on.
And that's how we met.
That's so cute.
Yeah, she came. She was like, she's from Chicago and she just had a little road bike. And there was still like feet of snow on the ground. And then she had like a road bike and this huge camera. And we're all riding mountain bikes and the girls are like, how is she doing that? You know, it was so cool. Just so fortunate to be with her.
That was awesome.
Wow, so amazing.
I could really go for maybe a world record and some coffee.
Oh, coffee?
Now that we have this going, maybe we can go for the world record longest long distance coffee pour.
That sounds like a good idea. Ready?
Go!
Woo! Woo! We did it!
Can you believe we just set a world record?
Oh my gosh. Good?
Oh yeah, it tastes just that much better knowing it's a world record.